Hello, I'm Courtney Steerwalt, Indiana 4-H Animal Science Extension Specialist. Today I am joined by Kara Harbison, the Indiana 4-H Online Extension Specialist. Our video today will highlight what you need to do to properly identify your swine in the 4-H online system. Before we begin, I'd like to remind you about what the requirements are in order for your animals to be eligible for the Indiana State Fair 4-H Swine Show. In the 4-H online system, all swine, your gilts and barrows, must have an 840 RFID tag and an ear notch, as well as a DNA hair sample submitted to your local extension office by May 15th. Again, swine must have DNA submitted to your local extension office in order to be eligible for the Indiana State Fair. If you need instructions on how to obtain your DNA hair sample, please check out the Indiana 4-H Swine Project page for more information. As always, we remind you to make sure that you are working with your local extension office to ensure that you are following all county and statewide policies. Without further ado, Kara, please explain how we properly identify our swine in 4-H Online.
Okay, you will visit v2.4honline.com, log in with your family credentials like you do for enrollment. Animal identification is done under a member's profile. So we'll locate our first member that we want to add our swine for. Click to view next to their name, navigate to the left-hand side here, and click Animals. Any animals entered in for that exhibitor already will appear down here. But we're going to add an animal so we can add swine. Add new animal, and then select our animal type. Do notice that swine barrows and swine gilts are two different animal types, so please be sure to pay attention when you're going to select one of those to identify. So we'll click swine barrows for our example today. Where it says tattoo, please note that this is actually the ear notch for your pig. And we will click save. Under the questions section, please be sure to read through all the directions before you proceed to enter in the animal's ID information. There's lots of information on how to properly identify them, especially for the State Fair exhibition, but also please be sure to contact your local extension office to get other required fields and deadlines. Once you've read through the text, please click Show Questions. We'll scroll back up to the top here, and we'll start with the animal's birth date. And then we'll select the breed. You can indicate if this pig is county born and raised or not. DNA collected. Do remember that if you are going to exhibit at the Indiana State Fair, you must collect DNA from your pig and submit that to your local extension office before May 15th. So if you've done that, please check yes or no. Premise ID. All exhibitors exhibiting livestock in Indiana must have a premise ID. If you do not have a premise ID or forgot what your premise ID was, please contact the Board of Animal Health. Please do not wait until the May 15th to obtain a premise ID because that process can take some time. So we'll go ahead and enter that in because we have our premise ID already. We'll go down here to the RFID tag. Please make sure you put in the full 15 digits of that RFID tag, starting with the 840. If you have a 5-digit county tag, you can place that in here at this time. And again, make sure down here where it says tattoo, please make sure that is your ear notch. Make sure you have thoroughly read through and answered all the required fields. We'll click next. Oh, it's telling us that we were off on our RFID tag. Make sure you're getting in all the digits. We do have an option file for swine. Again, this is optional, but you can place a picture of your swine's ear notch just for extra identification.
This is especially helpful if you have a pig that may have a cauliflower ear or maybe a notch that was ripped or one that you're not sure of. At this time, we'd also just like to make the suggestion, if you're not sure of your pig's ear notch, please contact your local extension office and they can assist you in working with either the 4-H educator or the 4-H swine superintendent or club sponsor to help make sure that your ear notch is properly identified. Your local veterinarian can also assist with that.
So we'll click next. Now you have the option to confirm and make sure all your identification is correct. If it is not, you can go back and fix that information. Otherwise, you're good to submit. Upon submission of the animal ID, you will get an email notifying you that the animal is now in active status. You may go back in and edit this animal's information anytime before May 15th. We'll go back to our animals tab, or we could add another animal. We could go back to our members list to add animals for another member. Do note that because this pig is under Chance's profile, other members of the family, again, we stress members in your family, siblings, we have identified this pig under Chance, but this animal is automatically co-enrolled for the family. So if another family member does decide that they are going to exhibit this swine at their county fair or state fair, they are automatically co-enrolled, so you do not have to identify this animal under the other family member.
For questions on animal eligibility as well as ownership, please contact your local Purdue Extension office. Another thing we want to stress here as well is that if you happen to lose an RFID tag or have an issue with an ear notch, please contact your local extension office and make them aware as soon as possible. Most of the time we do have some challenges with the tags falling out occasionally, so please make sure you let your 4-H educator know so they can make the necessary changes and assist you with that process. Again, important to remember that the animal ID deadline for all animal species is May 15th unless a date is set beyond or ahead of that by your county. So please make sure you are in the up and know what's going on in your local county.